Good morning, Vietnam. I don't think anybody does that as good as Robin Williams does. Nobody else can do it as justice. What's up, Lily? Sketchy. Christy's here, of course. Kirsty's here. Julie. Arturus. And Carol's here too. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. That's the wrong thing. There we go. And Pookie's here as well. What's up? How are we all doing? It's 10 PM in Germany. I know, I'm sorry. It's a bit late. It's a bit late for me compared to normal, but I was out with family, which is nice. So, but now I'm with my other family, so we can do some drawing. Hey, look, we've got a couple of additions on the screen now. We've got the latest Patreon tutorial up in the top right hand corner and the latest YouTube tutorial as well, just slightly underneath it, so can make sure that everybody's aware of the latest one then. Cool. So this here, I've done this before, and it was a design that I did, but making this triangle is actually pretty tricky because there's a couple of different layers you have to put together in order to actually pull this off. But I wanted to practice it in order to make it a tutorial for YouTube. So because this is actually quite a cool one, I'll show you what I did, because then you get an idea of where I'm going to go with it. Let's scroll down. Let's find it. Where was it? Oh, here it is. So once you add some like cool effects on there and stuff, it can look like a really like infinitely what's it, like one of those illusions. It's like an infinite triangle. So that's something that I'm going to try and aim for today, but I want to try and refine the process a little bit, and then maybe I've got a real idea to do like a really vintage motel sign. I really want to do something like that. So this one though was asked for a lot on Instagram and stuff previously, so I want to try and go back, reverse the steps, and just practice and just have a hang out with you guys this evening or morning. So just gonna chill. Hey, huge news on the Patreon front. I just received another Patreon notification. We are up to a phenomenal 96 patrons right now over on Patreon. How mental is that? We are 4 away. I mean, just to give some of the patrons in here some insight though, typically what happens is at the end of the month, the people that cancelled their subscription during the month will obviously leave us, but the new ones, all the new people obviously will stay for the next month. So I think it will drop to roughly around about 88. If I'm at 96 now, I think it will drop to about 86, because there's been a few people leave the month, and that's fair enough. People come and go every month, which we spoke about loads of times. So I imagine we should be around about 86, but every month we're constantly getting closer to that 100 goal. We're gaining more users to the Patreon than we are losing. So we will, fingers crossed, in the next month or the month after that, be consistent over 100, and then we can increase the tutorials. So fingers crossed, we can continue to keep growing and move on. I mean, I will set another target after that. You know, it'll probably be a 200 target. It'll be quite a distant one, but where it's one a week, because at that point it really is then a situation where it's a matter that I could, you know, really give a lot of time to it and make it almost a full like, well, maybe even full time at that point. But yeah, who knows? But we continue on. Anyway, let me acknowledge everybody here. We've got Kirsty here as well. Showed awesome support after the last live stream. She came in, I don't know if it was your first live stream, but then pledged an entire year's worth of support over on Patreon. Unbelievable. So that was awesome. Chrissy's here flexing her Joel Create membership badge on the end. Don't forget to drop those emojis in the chat as well. Julie trying to find some friends to help us get over that 100 mark. Laura's here as well. How you doing, Laura? And other Laura as well. Laura Hardy's here as well. Laura, how was your operation? Have you fully recovered now? Also, I'm going to start this process from the beginning, but I may just jump back to here because, again, you guys know now in here it's a matter of me just drawing because I want to draw, but also practicing and just nattering along with you guys. So Laura, thank you for asking. I am much better, though I've said this on the last stream, which was on did a sort of a last minute one on Sunday, that every time I talk my throat tends to get a little bit funky. I can start coughing, so fingers crossed it's gone, but it's fine now. Thank you for asking. I'm feeling pretty much back to normal, other than like sometimes the breathing is a bit funny, but yeah. These triangles are always really funny in Procreate to try and get right for some reason. I never ever seem to get them right. There we go. So again, I just want to practice this process because the steps aren't that simple, and I kind of want your opinion. So try and watch what I'm doing and let me know if you think it'll be too complicated. But I think if I explain the steps as we go, it should be pretty good to follow along with. Oh, it was Kirsty's first live stream as well. Oh, awesome. And now you're here for the next one, and now it'll become a regular thing on a Wednesday. And there's the emojis from Christy as well. We've got Marie here as well. We've missed you as well. How's things? Did I see you uploaded a new video? Or was I imagining that? I swear I saw that in my feed. Not fully, but you're on the mend, Laura. Thanks for asking. Well, fingers crossed you're back to normal soon. Has it stopped you from drawing at all? I can't remember if you... I think Julie asked it, didn't she, over on Discord, to say if it was your dominant arm for like drawing, if it affected it or not. And other Laura is playing Sims and multitasking. Music is pleasant. Yeah, it makes a change. Last time we were basically in a rave and I was trying to talk, but it was hard work. Right, let's remove this shape. So you have to clear the triangle from the center. God, blimey. There we go. That's the first one of the night. And then the process here is that you got to like grab the triangle, and then we have to do a lot of cutting out. So we expand it up this way and then remove it again. And then we have to do something funky where let's just drag a color into this triangle. And then we have to flip it upside down, flip it vertically, and then I can't remember the process after that. What did I do? Oh, no, that's it. We're actually done with that triangle now. We duplicate it, and let's drag this color in here. And then we have to rotate it 120 degrees and start using the shape to cut away from the shape. So we position it exactly the same position as this one. So it's a bit of like a messes with your head, this one, a little bit. And then we have to use this part of the shape up here to remove from the shape itself. So we use this bit here that overlaps. If I lower the opacity down, this diamond here is what we end up having to actually get rid of in order to make this work. Takisio's here as well. How you doing? had every intention to try and follow along today and try and copy it. I'm already lost. Okay, Julie, if you want me to try and do it step by step, I can, but it's going to be a tutorial anyway, if you want. The problem is with it, I'm still trying to refine the process myself. So if you guys want me to start again, I'm more than happy to do it, and we'll do it together. I tell you what, if you want to do that, if you're ready to start, I'll start at the beginning, and we'll go through it. The problem with it might take a little bit long to do, but once we get the shape down, we can do it. So let me go all the way back. Let me actually just start again, and I'll try and describe it like it's going to be a tutorial, but I'll try to obviously catch up with chat at the same time, so that should give you some time to catch up. Just let me know in the chat if you want me to go backwards, and I can explain a step, but fingers crossed I'll do it at such a pace that we can try and all do it at the same time. So if anybody else wants to try and draw it at the same time, let me know. If you are going to do it, or you need 2 minutes, I'll tell you what, let's just give it 2 minutes, get everybody catch up if they want to, and we'll start. The only thing you're going to need, I'll try and do it as a tutorial. Oh, okay, cool. I think we're all good to go. Anybody else want to draw along? Otherwise, I'll start again. I've got an energy drink, so we can go as long as we need to. You guys will just have to ring into my work tomorrow, so it's up to you. You just have to explain, listen, we kept your... I mean, don't ring my work as a bunch of women and tell my work that you kept me up all night, because, I mean, that's going to go full circle and I'm going to be in some trouble, so... Yeah. Well, I think Julie would enjoy that. Okay, cool. Let's all draw along at the same time. This will be interesting. So, at any time, if you get stuck, just drop a message in the chat. We will start again. And there is a bit of a delay, so on the chat, like a 2-second delay, I think. So, I'll try and keep an eye out for it. But you guys are going to have to stop nattering. It's going to be your own fault if you get stuck behind. Right. Okay, so on a new layer, we're going to just use any color. It doesn't matter. As long as we get our shapes right for this, that's all we need. You want to go to the brush library and use the monoline brush, and at the smallest percentage you can get it to. If you make it any larger, you'll end up with rounded corners on the end, and that's not going to work for what we're going to do. So undo that. So 1% on the brush, and we're just going to draw a triangle. So this may take a couple of attempts, but if you draw a triangle and link up your lines and hold your pen at the end, see, I've messed up there, it's quadrilateral instead. So just try and get a triangle and pop your finger on the screen. Look, it never wants to work for me. I never get it just right. I think if you start smaller, it tends to be a bit easier, or if I don't actually put some rounded corners in there. Hey, a triangle. And if you pop your finger on the screen, as always, you'll get a perfect shape. So something roughly sort of that size will be good. And then drag and drop that color into the middle. And then grab your cursor and then turn on snapping as well, so that when you are moving it, you'll get the orange line eventually to let you know you're perfectly horizontal and perfectly vertical in the middle. Keep everything nice and organized. And then what we'll do is, we're going to cough in unison. We're going to invert, we're going to swipe that triangle to the left and duplicate it. And we're going to invert the triangle above. So just tap on it and invert, because it'll just give you a contrast between the colors that you had. And then grab your cursor. And with the uniform option. Now this is the only annoying thing with this. For some reason, if you scale this down and then position it in the center, you only get the orange line down the middle. You don't get the orange line to let you know you're perfectly in the middle for some reason. And if you do, it's far too high. So you're gonna have to turn and look to get the orange line down the middle, but also try and get that perfectly in the center of this triangle instead. So when you tap on the cursor, you're going to want to try and make sure each side is level. And don't worry if it's not, because we'll simply just make sure that everything we're going to do afterwards will eventually cut this all out. Julie, is there anything you want me to do? You want me to pause for a second or anything, or are you good? Snapping and I never put on magnetics. I think I turn it off all the time. I can't even remember what the purpose is of it, to be honest with you, off the top of my head, but it used to bug me, so I just turn it off. So, if we're all at the same point, I can't see any. What's up, Claire? How you doing? And thank you. I'm much better, thank you. Giving a little live tutorial now. It's a fun idea though, isn't it? Doing a live tutorial together. If we keep the concept nice and simple, I think we could easily make this something kind of more regular. Let me close some windows down on my computer while I wait. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so now we've got this smaller triangle. What we're going to do is, with that layer selected still, I'm going to go to our cursor, going to use the uniform option, and we are going to grab the top right hand corner and just scale it up until it's outside of the triangle shape, and then tap on your cursor. So it just needs to be bigger than this edge here, really. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to your layers, and then on that one that we just used, you're going to tap on it. We want to select that shape. So you tap on the layer once more, and then you get the option of select. Make sure color fill is turned off, because that will mess up your process from this point on. So make sure that's turned off. And then if we go back to our green triangle now, with the zigzags all over the screen still for the selection, we tap on the layer and we use the option of clear. And what that would do is, if we turn off my purple triangle now, it'll have got rid of a big chunk there. So that would have been gone. And Ixley, I do remember you from the last stream on Sunday. So now you should end up with this green shape or whatever color you've used, ready to start cutting out other pieces. Now this is where the process will start to get a bit tricky here, because again, this is part which I've not really refined or found like a really quick way of doing it, so fingers crossed it'll work out. Let's get rid of this purple layer now and delete it, because we don't need the purple triangle anymore. It's served its purpose. Just drop me a... Can you drop me a ready in chat if you're ready for the next step? But instead Julie wants to goss. Hey, I'm going to be a strict teacher at this point, you know, because like, I'm going to start throwing rulers at people if you're not keeping up with the tutorial for the gossip. People are going to start getting detention around here. Music's actually not that bad tonight. I'll need to remember this playlist instead. Kirsty's ready. Magic. Carol's ready. Only if you wear the nun outfit. Oh god. Can we just do a tutorial? Oh god. I'll be checking. The chat's always the funniest part of these streams, isn't it? Right, I'm assuming, based on your messages, we're good to go. Right, let's, on this arrow we've created here, Let's swipe it to the left and duplicate it. Let's then invert the top one so we've got a contrasting color. And then we just want to lower the opacity down to about 50% so we can see the difference. Once you've done that, you're going to want to go to your cursor. And then when you tap on the cursor at the top, there'll be a green dot, which is usually the rotation. If you tap on it, you'll get the option to type in a distance, a rotation angle. And we're just going to rotate it 120 degrees. So it's obviously that's the split of 360. And we tap off of that and then on our cursor when we're done. And then we're going to grab our cursor and position that sort of, you should end up getting the blue lines really to let you know that you're somewhat top and bottom the same as the triangle. This chat is always just mad. Okay, when we're done, tap on the cursor and you should end up with this Sims-like diamond at the top here. Because what we're going to do is we're going to end up erasing parts now from each arrow that we create in order to create that geometric look. Because what we've got to do is we've actually got to remove this like twice. So fingers crossed we can get that done. So I think what we've got to do now is on the purple layer, we've got to tap on that layer and use the option of select and select that shape. Then we're going to go to the green arrow, the one that we initially had. We're going to not do anything with that layer there. We're going to zoom in and we're going to go to our eraser. And I'm going to use the monoline brush under calligraphy. And make it as large as possible. And then just erase this diamond shape from the top here. And then tap on the selection when you're done. Now you may end up, if we get rid of this purple section here, you may end up with a little bit of spillage over here. So just erase that and tidy it up a little bit. So if we zoom out now, one end should be slightly shorter than the other one and we can hopefully use that now to go forward. Okay, cool. I'll wait till everybody's done that. Just give me a ready in chat when you're done. I think Julie's given up on the tutorial by the looks of it. Don't forget to cough in unison. Oh, Jesus. Do we still have anybody doing this tutorial, or should I just crack on now? Oh, okay, cool. We've got a couple of people doing it. Yeah, don't listen, guys. Don't be distracted by Julie. And don't tell her, but she's a nightmare. So let's just keep this on track. You know, we'll get something done here. You know, something productive. Don't feel like a goody two shoes, because if we end up ditching this tutorial halfway through, it'll be a complete waste of time. Ignore her, she's the riffraff. I always say that. Marie, are you still there doing the tutorial? I think Marie started the tutorial further up. Okay, I think we got people ready for me to move on, I think. Right, okay. Let me try and... I tell you what, talk amongst yourselves for 2 seconds while I work this out. I think this is the step here that's still got to be refined to then make this work. That's not right. Not for the triangle style that I'm trying to do. No, don't worry, Kirsty. I'm not ditching the tutorial. I'm just trying to work out this final step because there's a step missing here to clean up this triangle shape. There's a step missing somewhere. It's quite confusing to get this one done. I think the process is then... Yep, that'll do it. Okay, right, let's go back. Let's go back to where we were. So we ended up with this... Jesus. We ended up with... Okay, so we ended up with this arrow here. So I'm about to... Oh, no. Oh, you got a puppy, though. That's amazing. I love... when our two were puppies, they were unbelievable. Okay, what we'll do then. So, now we've got this arrow. What we need to do is we need to swipe it to the left and duplicate it. And then when we, on the top one, let's just invert it again so we've got our opposite color. Now what you're going to need to do is repeat the process with the rotation. So we're going to go up to our cursor again and then tap on the green node at the top and rotate it 120 degrees. And then tap away to get rid of that and then tap on the cursor. But then tap on it again and we need to move it down into position to the point where we hit that orange line down the middle. This corner here basically runs all the way down that green, and we're trying to just line up this purple edge here to the top of the green here, like that. So if I zoom out, you should end up with that shape there. And then we're going to repeat the process with the selection. So we're going to select the shape of the green layer. So my green arrow. We're going to go tap on it and use the option of select. And then when we go back to our layers and then the purple arrow, the new one that we added, we'll zoom in on this corner down here. And we're going to grab our eraser again and just erase this part here of the purple. And then tap on your selection when you're done. Now that purple is the actual shape that we need now to get this done. And then we can go, I'll tell you what, I'll wait at this point and then I'll move on. So, okay, Kirsty, which part do you need me to go back to? I went backwards to the point where we ended up with that arrow. So let me know, Kirsty, how far you need me to go back. That's Miss Wild's fault, no doubt. I can repeat that step if you want. I'll go all the way back to just that singular arrow. Tell you what, I'll do it just in case anyway. and you can start again. So I'll delete that layer, and we'll be left with our arrow here. What's this tune? Christy, how's your lockdown going? How much longer is it for as well? Because it was on Sunday you said you were in it. I don't think it's very long, is it, that you're in lockdown for? Okay, Kirsty, I'm about to start again with that triangle. So I'll delete all these layers so it's not confusing as well. So give you a couple of seconds and I'm going to crack on. Okay, so if we've got our triangle here on the left still, what we're going to do is we're going to swipe it to the left and duplicate the layer. Now on the top one, I'm going to tap on it and I'm going to use the option of invert because it will give me a different color to the green. That way I can see what I'm doing. I'm then going to tap on the N and lower the opacity down to about... No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it as is. It's fine. Don't worry about that step. So then with the purple version, we're going to go to our cursor. We're then going to tap on the green node at the top so we can get our rotation pop up. And then we're going to type in 120 degrees. They're going to tap away on the right hand side to get rid of the pop-up. And then we're going to tap... Oh, no, we're not. Then we're going to drag our arrow down. So what we're trying to do is we're going to leave all of the green here. And all we want to do is basically continue this line up and into the purple. So we bring the purple right down to this edge. So these edges sort of touch. And then if we zoom in, you can tap with your pen, like to the right or left, to move the triangle along if you need to. But I think mine's actually almost pretty bang on there. So this line runs all the way down. And if I tap on my cursor and zoom out, that's what you should be left with. So I'll wait. Let me know if you caught up to that point. They haven't given us a date yet. Well, Auckland is till at least next Tuesday. Oh well. There was somebody else, sorry, I've missed, was also doing the tutorial as well, live. Carol, that was it. Let me know if you're also caught up. So, Carol, you should be, you should be, or Cat even. I'll call you Cat, it's in your name there. You should be in a good position there. Nice. I'll just wait to see how Kirsty is getting on. Hey, who saw my, while we wait for Kirsty, who saw the newest video, the top 4 tips? If you haven't already, I posted a video tonight, or this evening, of my 4 tips that I actually demonstrated them on the live stream on Sunday, of just 4 things that I tend to do when I finish doing a tutorial, doing a design, and all the different sort of adjustments you can make just to try and refine it and make maybe some changes that you may not have seen before or tried to do, or take your design in a totally different angle. So if you managed to see that, if you haven't, sure to go over and drop it a like, appreciate that. Let's see if you're even still listening to me. So okay, cool. I think Kirsty said she's got it. Magic. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We will go onto our layers, and the green one now, we're going to tap on it and use this select option. We want to select the shape an area of the green one. If we go back up to our layers and the purple arrow now, the top one, we're going to go to our eraser and the monoline again. And all we want to do, if I zoom right in so you can see the zigzags hopefully, we're going to erase this section here, like so. And if we tap on our selection and zoom out, that's what you should be left with. Laura. Well, you say you can multitask, but Julie's just completely bottled it. Right. Fingers crossed you're up to that point, and I can then turn off the green arrow now because we don't need it. This purple arrow is going to give us everything that we need for this style. So let me know if you're up to this point, and then we can create that triangle and then get into some nice highlights and shading in it. I missed a spot. You are absolutely right, I missed a spot. Whoop. Go on. Cat's ready. Sweet. Whoa, who's that whispering in my ear? This will be live anyway, afterwards if you want to catch up or watch it back afterwards. I'll leave it up on the channel. Cool, so if we've got everything now, essentially what we need to now do is we can go up to our layers and get rid of the green one if you've still got it. And this purple one, we're just going to duplicate it twice more, and each one we're going to rotate 120 degrees, both negative and positive. So we're going to swipe on the purple one and duplicate it. The top one out of the two, go up to your cursor, same process, tap on the green node and then type in 120 degrees, then tap away, and then move that into this position so that this shorter edge is on the inside of the triangle, and you want to try and line it up as perfectly as you can so you don't end up with that white line preferably. And then that's 2/3 of our triangle done. And then what we'll do is we'll repeat the process again. So the top layer, we swipe it to the left and duplicate it. And then we go to our cursor. We tap on the green node, 120 degrees. And then we grab that layer, and this is the final step, and we position it in its position there, and we should end up with our triangle with all of our never-ending lines and shapes into one another. If I actually change the color tones of some of these, you'll end up seeing what I mean. Let's go for a slightly darker tone into this one, and let's go for an even darker tone and pop it into this one. And there you should end up with this really cool triangle effect. Let me catch up with the chat while you maybe catch up with that. It's Julie whispering in your ear. She's hacked into this stream. I've actually been busy playing around last night. It's tutorial, still multitasking, drawing, listening, and being an awesome all at the same time. Easy, easy. How are we doing, Cat? Kirsty as well. Because really, once you've done this, everything afterwards is pretty straightforward. That's the hardest bit. I should probably change the stream title to, like, I suppose I'll do it afterwards, to live tutorial instead, and people can catch up. Oh, Lucy. Okay, actually, that's a good point while I wait for... Oh, okay, cool. Everybody's caught up. Listen, I've got a question to ask, though. It's regarding the Facebook group. Because the Facebook group at the moment, it's all done manually. So every time people leave Patreon, I've got to go through and check each person, and none of the details and content matches up. And so it's becoming I mean, it's quite a lot quieter than Discord anyway. I think you guys are enjoying Discord a lot more, to be honest. I think it's a lot. I prefer Discord for you guys. I think you can have a lot more chatter in there, and we can definitely share a lot more. But the Facebook group, if we're going to continue to grow, I just don't think it's something that's manageable for me going into the future, because of just the fact that it's not done automatically, whereas Discord is all done. I don't have to do anything. If somebody leaves Patreon, then their access changes on Discord. I mean, it's meant to be automatic, but I've had to email them every month so far, but they're just ironing out some bugs. So I'm starting to think that I might have to... It depends on how much you guys want to keep it, but I think we end up having so much more chatter over on Discord that we might have to take down the Facebook group at some point. The problem with making people admins as well as that solution is that you guys don't also have access to there's no way of me giving you sort of admin access to Patreon as well at the same time, so that you can match the two up. I mean, if there was a way and you'd want to do it, that'd be awesome. I just don't think it's going to be manageable going forward. So I'll let you guys let me know in the chat. I might even pop a poll up over on Patreon as well. I think the Discord's been great, and I think there's so much more room there to grow. We can create threads for things that we want to talk about. Just loads of different separate conversations, and share all our content in there. I think sometimes you can spread yourself a little bit too thin, can't you, across the different platforms. So, coming back to this design now, we can go ahead and start adding in some really cool colours and shading and highlights and stuff, and this will really come to life. What you want to do though, before we go any further, is go to your layers, and on the layers with the top one selected, just swipe on all three of them and grab your cursor, and you'll drag all three and just make sure it's perfectly in the center, so you get the orange lines running through horizontally and vertically as well, and then tap on the cursor just to make sure it's perfect for when we continue forward. Marie, I did make a small tutorial on it, but if I can find a tutorial that I think, you know, nicely matches up, I think we could maybe otherwise I could shoot one, I guess. I mean, I do make videos, I guess. It'd be lazy for me to try and find somebody else to do it. But yeah, I mean, if you guys can help each other, that would be amazing. I know some of you are pretty good with it. So, if we've got to this stage now, just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you're happy for me to move on from this point, if you've maybe stepped away for a second while we were nattering. Do you know what, actually? I'll do it another time, actually. I might try and demonstrate Discord to everybody else while we're on the stream, maybe. Maybe I'll do it at the end. I don't want to do it now because if people are following along afterwards, it'll take us off subject for a second. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go for the same nebulous sort of look in the background that I did in the other designs. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to our layers, and the background color, we're going to change that to black. And I'll tell you what, we could probably keep the purple, to be honest with you. If you've not already used purple, maybe or do any color you want. At this point, it doesn't matter what color you use, to be honest with you, because I'm only now pretty much going to add some shading and highlights in here. And what we can do is we can, at the end, we'll do some of the 4 effects that tips that I mentioned on YouTube today, and then refine it how we want it. So all we're going to do is we're going to look at the design, and essentially in these corners here, so this corner here, this corner here, and this corner here, my mind perceives it that it's like going and hiding in behind. So what that would mean that for me is that we'd need to add some shading in there. And then on these top outer edges, we'll add some highlights. So what we'll do is we'll go to our layers, and let's work on one first, and then we'll do the other. So I'm going to work on this arrow here. I'll turn it on and off so you can see which one I'm working on. I'm going to create a new layer above that. I'm going to tap on it and use the option of clipping mask. So now everything that we draw is only going to be able to be drawn within that section here. So what we'll do is we'll just use black and white and the soft airbrush. So pretty common brushes really. We're going to go to black at the bottom here of our disc and our colors. And then we'll go to our brush library and we'll use the airbrushing and the soft brush. And then with our brush size set to about, how big is that? Yeah, 12% is pretty good. Kat, if you lose connection, like I said, I'll leave this video up on my YouTube if you want to watch it back. But if you do lose connection, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you being here, following along, and we can pick it up once you're ready for the rest of your day. Appreciate you dropping in though. So what I'm going to do now is, with the shadow selected, I'm going to shade in this edge down here a little bit towards that edge there. And then building that colour up as we make our way out. Which is going to look really cool because now it looks like it's going to start dipping in behind. And then we're going to switch it out to white, our colour. And then repeat the process up in this top corner here and just make our way down like so. So we end up with a nice highlight up here, fading down into the purple and then into the dark colour there. And all we're going to do essentially is now repeat that. Yeah, Kirsty, to be honest, I'm only talking to you at this point, I think. So, but, you know, it'll be live on YouTube anyway, so people can do it if they want to. So at this point, we will then... Do you know what? I think there's a way afterwards that I can cut out a lot of the pausing. So this could be a good experiment for me to see how this could work in the future. Hey, Julie, you leave Kirsty alone. I'll have enough of your lip. Okay, and then we're going to repeat the process on the other 2 triangles. So on the triangle, this one here, I'll turn it on and off to show you which one I'm on. We'll create a new layer above that, tap on it and use the option of clipping mask. And then we're going, because we've got white selected, we'll just keep with white for a minute. I'm going to do this edge down here and bring some of that white further up. And then I'm going to switch the color out to black. And I'm going to do the same in this corner down here, just fade it up a little bit. You want to try and match the distance of this. Something like that looks pretty good. And then repeat the process for the final triangle. So this triangle here, now we're going to repeat the process. So create a new layer above it. Tap on that layer and make sure it's a clipping mask. And then we've already got black selected. So let's just add in our shadow up in here and fade it down like so. And then let's switch our color out to white. And a new subscriber, Two Dill Chill. If you're in the chat, appreciate you. I'm going to change color out to white at this point and then just highlight along this edge here as well. Like so. And we should end up with a really 3D looking triangle now. Don't forget to cough. Julie, if you're distracting Kirsty, we're going to be in some trouble here. Kirsty, let me know if you are up to date with that. While you're doing that, ignore what I'm about to do, because I'm just going to mess around with some layer effects while I wait for you to let me know. I'm going to scroll through these layer effects. I want to try and find some that look pretty sweet with this style. I think overlay is going to be pretty sweet. Ooh. I think I like that. Let's try some different ones. Okay, I think at this point it's just a matter. We've done all the shading really and everything that we needed to do. It's just how we want to maybe reflect some of the background. So tell you what, let's move on to the background first and then see what we end up doing for the rest of the triangle. So I'm going to hold my finger down on the triangle in a purple area, grab one of them. And then I'm going to go to my layers now. Now this step, Kirsty, you're going to want to do is just to keep things tidy, is just swipe on all your highlights and your triangle layers and just group them together at this point. Just so that you can collapse that group down and then create a new layer so things are nice and tidy underneath our triangle. So this will be where we do all the background stuff. And then let's tap on the brush library and use the soft soft brush that we were already using. Just make that brush size pretty big, maybe around about 30 or 40%, and just tap in the middle of the screen until we get a nice glow in there. So it's like a soft orb. And then grab your cursor and just scale that up until it pretty much fills the entire background. You can maybe even make it slightly bigger if you want. And then just get those orange lines running through so we know we're nice and central. So I've made that glow nice and big. And then hit the cursor. I don't know why I'm here anymore. Whoa, Kirsty, don't be siding with Julie. That is... Listen. I've got a ban button that I can use at any minute. Yeah, I might have to keep some of you like in line. Yeah, this is... Whoa, Julie. I mean... Cut the music. Cut the music. Where's the music? We need to have a serious chat. Niggas are getting serious. Let's just remember one thing. Okay. I do this out of love. For art. And if I'm just a piece of meat, well, I'm sorry. But this party's going to have to carry on. Sid, yep, you missed the live tutorial of this, but this video will stay live on YouTube, so you can watch it back if you want afterwards, as and when we finish this. It's gonna be a slow one to catch up with, so you might have to skip it forward a little bit. Hey, as always, the good thing with Julie is most of the time she knows I'm only messing. I couldn't care any less. Okay, cool. I'm gonna use the I'm gonna use some different shades in the background, Kirsty. I don't know if you want to do the same with yours. But I'm going to change it out to, say, like a slightly more pink colour than my purple. So what I suggest you do at this point is if you go to the harmony section of your colours. So I'm going to select my purple again. Then go up to my colours. And then I'm going to go to harmony. And then from harmony, you can get 3 different colours depending on the colour you selected. So I'll end up with this blue, this purple, and a slightly pinky red colour. And then what we can do is we can tap on each one that we want to select. And then when we go into our background, I want to create multiple orbs on a new layer. So I'm going to tap, because I just want to add some different colours in the background. So create small and big airbrush drops on the screen, because this will help us with the colour of our sort of galaxy in the background. So something like that. And then if you go back up to your colours at any time, this harmony section stays, and you can select then the 3rd colour. If you don't have the 2 colours either side, tap on up here, and you want to tap on the middle option here. And then from here I can tap away and add some sort of reddy pinks in here as well. See, Chrissy, you don't just watch these live streams just to harass me. You know, I'm here for educational purposes as well. Yeah, Kirsty, if yours doesn't do that, just go up to your colours and tap on this option here. So Harmony tab, then tap on this option here. You want to select the middle option. Magic, magic. Let me just change my screen temperature because I think it's gone to night shift. It has. What I'm actually going to do at this point is I'm also going to create a new palette. Scroll up to the top and create a new palette. And I'm going to save all 3 of these colours because then I can come back to them at any time. So the purple goes in here. I think that was... Wait, harmony. No. It was that. Slide that up. We've got this one. And that one. There we go. So I've got all 3 so I can revert back to them. And then what we'll do is we'll grab our orb layer here. And then just go up to adjustments and Gaussian blur when you're done. And just get rid of it will get rid of the sort of the rounded shapes a little bit more, and just blur them into one big sort of multicolored background. So I've gone up to about 30% there on the blur. What is this song? Next. Harmony is a really good tool for creating color palettes that match and complement each other. So might as well just go and take a look at it. While we're in here, you've got multiple options. So the first one is complementary. So that does the opposite. So typically, like if you select blue, you get yellow, red, you get sort of green. And it will do the opposite complementary color. So you can always make sure that things are nice and tidy. Also, you can increase the spectrum here to make sort of brighter colors or slightly toned down colors. Something roughly here tends to be quite a nice one. If you go too bright, this is always a tip that I would say. Don't go too bright. If you go too bright, your colours are too punchy and you can't add highlights on top of it without it then going just too exposed and crazy. So I suggest something roughly like here is a good position to sit in. The next one is then split complementary. So you will get the opposite complementary colour, but you also get 2 versions of it. So in this example of like the purple, we get a nice solid yellow and a nice green as well. So that's the opposite. But I'm not even going to try and pronounce that because I know you'll take it out of context. So the middle option, if you select anywhere, it will pick complementary colours either side of it. So yellow, you get a nice green and a bit of orange. If I select red, I get a nice orange and pink, which they always look really good as a family of colours. And then blue, you'll get blues and sort of teals and purples. And then we've got triadic as well, which is just 3 colours opposite one another. Almost the same as split complementary, but they're more primary. And then we've got tetradic, which is 4 colors that will all be the same tones as each other. But as you can see, dragging it around, if I go for like lighter tones in the middle, there's some lovely pastel colors in the middle there. But if I drag it all the way out, you end up with really bright colors. So you can easily match your colors to one another and make sure that they are the same level of like saturation, brightness and darkness, etc. That's how a lot of people ask me all the time, how do you create palettes? And that would be my tip there, to create some palettes, because those colors all complement each other. For example, let's say I was going to do a pastel design, I would use all 4 of these colors and pop them in here in my palette. Then I would drag that out a little bit more, and that lighter pastel color ended up changing into a slightly more prominent punchy color, and I would add that in. So then I've got a lighter tone and a darker tone, and then maybe even do a third time, so then I've got a really dark tone. So you end up with a highlight tone, a normal tone, and a shadow tone, all in the same spectrum of colors. And that would be my tips on how you can create some nice palettes. And because these are 3 columns high, using the middle option here, that's the best way to create a palette, 100%. So there's your potential new tip of the day, maybe. Do you know what? I can always tell when people are listening and actually taking content, educational purposes, because the chat just stops talking for ages, because I can tell you're all taking it in. So I know when I get silence, it's because people are listening. Which actually means quite the opposite at the same time, that if you're nattering away, I know that you're not listening to me anymore. I might make that a video at some point as well. Anyway, let's get back to this design. So we've got our background colours, and I've saved those 3 colours here, Kirsty, so that I can use those colours for our triangle as well afterwards, so adding some colours in there. So let's continue working on the background. And then I'm going to create a new layer. You could leave it here like this if you want to, but I'm going to add in all that space. So I'm going to go back to disk and select white. And then on that new layer, I'm going to go up to my brush library. And if you go all the way down to luminance, there's this really cool nebula brush, or light leak, either one of them. And then make your brush size quite large, about 65%. And I think you can, it's too crazy. Let's go 40%. You can tap away and add in all these really cool galaxy sort of looks in the background. Do some lighter, some a lot harder on the screen. And then if you go to your layer options for that layer and scroll through them, the colors that we placed in the background now will start to come through, and we should end up with some really crazy looking galaxies like that. Kirsty, don't worry if your colours you're not happy with them, because at the end we're going to go through some tips on how you can change colours if you're not happy. As long as you, I said this in the last live stream, just sometimes if you just get the drawing done and worry about the colours somewhat later, you can adjust everything. So we're just scrolling through here and trying to find a cool layer effect that we like the look of. Now I actually quite like the one here that we're starting to spill out around the edges. If I lower that down, I think overlay is the one you're going to want to go for, and then swipe it to the left and then duplicate it, and then if we keep one, so what I've done there, I've got one layer of the galaxy on overlay with the O there on the right hand side. The top one though, I've duplicated the layer, and I'm going to scroll through and add content on top of that. So I think add is a little bit too punchy, but I really like how overlay's starting to build up. So I'm maybe going to swipe that to the left one more time, and I'm pretty happy with that. Now the only thing is it's very consistently very bright. We could do with some like darker areas in here. So I've got 3 layers there all set to overlay, but the top one maybe we'll go to our brush library on the, let's mask it first. So let's tap on the top one and mask it. And then on the mask, we can start to erase stuff without actually erasing it from the layer, like it'll be hidden. That's what a mask does. It hides if you paint with black and it reveals if you paint with white. So if I lower the nebula down to about 15%, nice and small, I can maybe start to get rid of certain areas. Now, I don't think we're actually doing too much there. So what we'll do is we'll actually delete that mask and we'll work on the bottom one out of the 3. So this is the problem, we're doing it live. The bottom one out of the 3, we're going to tap on it and mask that one instead. And on that mask, we should be able to start erasing parts of this that we don't like. So create some darker areas. So again, doing it live, I think we're going to end up having to erase parts from all. Do you know what? This is the real problem with doing it live, is I'm painting on a layer mask with white and not black. So there we go. Laura Hardy, okay, I have to go, sweetie. My hubby is on his way home and I have to make like I've accomplished something with today. Great work as always. Talk soon. Laura, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate you always being in here and showing some support and some love. Have a lovely evening or night, or wherever you are. See you next Wednesday, I presume. Okay, so on this layer mask now, I'm going to make sure we're painting in black. We want to make sure we're painting in black instead. And that should help us start to... Why is that not working? Is it the brush? Let's have a look. So, let me just draw in. Oh, that is working. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. So, let me start that again. Let's go back. So, we should have 3 layers here, all set to overlay. The bottom one out of the 3 for the nebula look. You can tap on it and use the option of mask. And then on the mask, make sure your color's set to black. Go to your brush library and change it to the soft airbrush. And then darken up areas that you want to create some sort of darker, spacier looks. So really, anything that's already pretty dark, just draw in a circular motion and just darken them up a little bit more here and there. And you should create some more depth in your nebula galaxy. So this is me just now sort of painting in the darker areas and just emphasizing them a little bit more. Just creating some darker areas. Because if everything's too bright, it just doesn't look very good in it. It's too punchy otherwise. And do you know what we could do? We could do a cool trick here. Kirsty, if you're up to this point, let me know. And I'll carry on from this point onwards. Because in a second I'm going to apply the background to the triangle itself, which will nicely incorporate it into its surroundings a bit more. Because at this point I would imagine... Oh, you're cool. Magic. Okay, guys. Okay, what we're going to do is we are going to go to our layers. And because we grouped our triangle together and we can turn it on and off nice and easily in one go. Turn it off, and then on our layer here with the background included, you want to swipe with 3 fingers down and you get this copy and paste menu. So three fingers swiping down, and we're going to go copy all, and then we're going to swipe down and we're going to go paste all again. So it will go a bit crazy, don't worry about it. Drag it all the way up to the very top of your layers, and then when we turn on our triangle again, what we're going to do is we're going to drag it down to above. So this was it's going to be hard to explain. Let me turn that off. We've got this triangle piece here, as you can see from my layers. I'll turn it on and off. It's that one there. You want to drag it to the point where it clips itself to that triangle. And then turn it on and it will pretty much disappear. But if we go to our layer options and scroll through them, we can start to apply some of that galaxy onto the triangle potentially. Now at this point I'm just experimenting. We can just scroll through this and see what we come up with. I quite like multiply and how that lets in a lot of the color. And this will just come down to preference really. Screen looks pretty cool. Adds pretty punchy. I quite like overlay. And then if we lower the opacity down a little bit. This is just experimenting at this point. Let's see what we come up with. I quite like pin light. Pin light looks really cool. Again, you could maybe duplicate the layer if you wanted to, and then scroll through multiple layer options on top of each other. So something... Okay, that looks pretty cool. So I've actually got 2 layers. I've got 2 layers clipped to that triangle. The bottom one is set to pin light. Let's make sure that's 100%. And then the one above, I've duplicated the layer, the one above is set to multiply. And I really like that because it starts to let in a lot of the color, but the color changes against the background so that now it's starting to stand off the background a little bit more. Now, Kirsty, let me know if you're up to this point because we're going to essentially repeat the same 2 layers here on all of these, the other 2 pieces of the triangle as well. And then we should be done, really. At the end, I'll show you how to change the colors and maybe adjust it and maybe a different color spectrum that you like a bit more. And then also show you some sneak peek. I'll show you, do you know what? I can show you a sneak peek of a Halloween design that I've got. Very early sneak peek. That's how busy I am. Cool, so what we're going to do is we're basically going to duplicate these 2 layers on each part of the triangle in the same process. So you'll end up with a triangle layer, the highlights and shadows that we added, and then the 2 galaxy layers above. So swipe on that layer to the left and duplicate it, the pin light one, and just simply drag it above the layer of the next triangle. And then swipe on the left of the multiply layer and drag that down on top as well to make sure it pins. Now, when we get to the end of this process, we may have to adjust this triangle somehow, or these 2 layers to just split it apart from the background. What I think I would do is maybe swipe on both of these 2 layers here that are clipped to the new triangle part that we're using, and maybe just move the galaxy around to a point where it's not in line anymore with the background. What that will do is that will separate it a lot from the other pieces of the triangle. So what I did there was I swiped on both the layers that we moved down onto the second part of the triangle and then grabbed my cursor and just moved them up and around just so that the pattern doesn't continue. Now we've got a nice separation between the 2 pieces here. And then we're just going to repeat the process for the last bit of the triangle. So swipe on the pin light version, drag it down, and then swipe on the multiply version and drag that down onto the other piece of the triangle. And again, swipe on both and then grab your cursor and just move it around so the pattern isn't repeating itself. And let's try and find something that looks pretty good. That looks pretty cool. And hit the cursor. And I mean, really, you could leave it like that. there's so many details that I would probably change in there. I don't like how punchy it. Also, coming across on camera, it's really bright. It's not as bright in person as it is maybe on the camera. So the only thing I would do at this point is I would probably add some really nice edge highlight in here to just really emphasize a bit more of the triangle. So what I mean by that is I would go to my layers. I'm going to work on this piece here first, that triangle piece here. I'd create a new layer above those two galaxy layers and tap on it and clipping mask it. So we should end up with the triangle, the original highlights and shadows we added for the 3D look, which is now pretty much disappeared quite a bit. And then the two galaxy layers and then the top layer. And then I would probably grab my soft airbrush and make it really small at about 2%. And maybe just drag a straight line down like that to just edge that bit of the triangle. And then maybe this bottom ledge here as well into that corner. And then probably just scroll through the layer effects I drew. And then that's what I was looking for. Something like that. Let me just see if there's a better one. I don't think there will be. Black looks pretty good. Louise Kane is here. How you doing? Thanks for dropping in. We've been doing a live draw along with me. So not something we've done before, but it'll be up on YouTube afterwards if you want to potentially follow along. I've set mine to overlay here, sorry, with the layer options. And what that does is that'll bring in a lot of the color, but it'll just edge those highlights in a little bit more around the edge of the triangle. And I think I'll repeat that for the other two as well. So I'm going to go down to the next part of the triangle, this middle-ish part, create a new layer, tap on it, and clipping mask it. And I'm going to edge the same areas, so this left hand side and maybe the inside here. And set it to overlay. And then repeat that again at the bottom for the final piece of the triangle. New layer, clipping mask, and I'll just set it straight to overlay. And then I'm going to edge this top piece here, and then this edge all the way down into there, and then this final edge here as well. I think that really emphasizes the edges of that triangle nicely. Siska's here as well. Good to see you. Oh, sorry, Louise Kane. Just done Becky Lynch artwork. Oh, cool. Becky Lynch. Have I heard of that name? Let's have a look. Is she on YouTube? Oh, I think, Becky, weren't you here the other day? Yes, you were. Sunday, talking about the WWE work you did. Okay, Kirsty, just let me know if you've managed to put those edge highlights in. I may make some personal adjustments to this afterwards, but I want to quickly jump on to the changes that you can make to the colours that we mentioned earlier on. So just some adjustments and see what if there's a different colour spectrum you prefer. I think that looks pretty nuts, to be fair. I think it looks really cool. I think the galaxy effect on the triangle really made it come to life a lot more. Looks almost like stone. Magic, Kirsty. Okay, so just like I did in my tips video that I've uploaded today, let's do exactly the same process that I would do. So I'd probably go up to adjustments, and the first place I'd probably start is probably hue, saturation and brightness. And then let's start this again, because being live I've made a mistake. What we want to do is we want to go to your layers and go right to the very top. Then you want to, on your canvas, swipe with 3 fingers, go copy all, and you want to go 3 fingers again, then you want to go paste. And then when you go to your layers, you should end up with a new layer right at the very top, which was all the work you've done before, but nicely flattened into one layer. Now, this is probably another little touch that I would probably do. Christy, thank you so much for hanging out. Like I said, I'll leave the video up. It'll probably it doesn't take long after that I was after being live that it will be published on the channel. So check the video out. All the tips will still apply at the end. So, but thank you so much for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your day. So on that top layer, the first one I would probably do is the layer options. I prefer doing this first, so I would tap on the N and then just scroll through the layer options and see if there's something that maybe makes me think maybe go in a different direction. I mean, multiply. We said this last time with the design with the beach huts. I prefer a darker aesthetic to some of the designs. Multiply looks really cool, and if I was to do it, I'd probably lower it down to about 50% maybe. But keep it at 100 just for now, and then scroll through all the different layer options, and you may get one that makes your design look just pop out basically in a different way. Sometimes you won't though. Sometimes, what's pin light doing? Nothing. Sometimes you might not find one, but it's worth just scrolling through, and there may be something that just changes the design in some way. But I'm a fan of multiply. But before I end up maybe doing that, I think I'm going to change it back to normal, because I think there might be some better options we can do. So the other option may be then to go to adjustments, and let's go for the fun one straight away. Let's go for gradient map and then layer. Now you can scroll through each one of these gradients, and potentially it may change the design in a way. Again, like breeze looks really cool if you want to get that blue effect. Maybe just scroll through, you may get like instant there, looks pretty cool with the crushed blacks in there. Blaze looks nuts. Ooh, I quite like the look of that one. Other than it being too exposed in these areas, I really love the change in colour here. One thing you can do, as I mentioned in the latest tutorial, is combine these effects together. So I really liked this breeze, and I think the blue will help the design in a way. So don't copy this, but what I'm going to show you, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to tap on the adjustments when I'm done. And because this is one layer above the pinks that I've already used, pinks and purples, if I now go to my layer options and scroll through them, it may combine the blue and the pinks all into one new design. So scrolling through, I can already see on some of them it's starting to bring the blue through a little bit more. That's quite a fun selection of colours. Scrolling through, there's none that I actually like the look of myself, but you can see what I mean there is you can combine some colours together. Like here, you can, with overlay, you can see we've got a nice bit of blue now in here, but obviously the effect itself is quite dark. It's making the triangle a bit too savage with its colours. I'm not really a fan. Some of the whites are too exposed. But as always, you can duplicate and multiply some of these effects. If I duplicate that layer and maybe go back to something a bit darker, it may lower those highlights down a little bit, make them less punchy. Scrolling through them, there's not really much I like at the moment, but that's one thing you could do. I'm going to undo this until we get back to our original layer. So let me actually go back. Let me just delete all that and start again. Swipe 3 fingers, copy all and paste. Just right at the top. The final thing I would probably do is just go to your adjustments, and maybe you could go to hue, saturation and brightness and layer, and just tone down some of these a little bit I think the highlights are a bit too bright, maybe. So lower it down a smidge. And the fun thing with this one is if you go to your hue slider here, we can just literally change the color to any sort of color in the spectrum we like the look of more. So, I mean, I'm always a sucker for like this bluey green look. I've already done it in that color, so I think I might try something else. A nice punchy blue there. And then just scrolling through, I really like the red. The red looks so fiery. Let me know in the chat what you think. Green looks pretty strong, but this reddy pink, I think that looks really cool. And again, once you've made this adjustment, you can tap on your adjustments when you're done and then go back to your layer effects again. Now you've got a red layer, and just see how that affects the design underneath. So we've got the pink one underneath still. Scrolling through, you might add a little bit of that red in here. And like I said, some of the times they don't really match up very well. But I'm pretty happy with that one as is. Once you make those adjustments, you can then just keep one as normal. And then duplicate it. And then go through the layer effects on that one, the more refined one. And see if there's anything you like the look of. So I think what I'm going to do is create a new layer above this red one, which I prefer the look of. And I might introduce some yellows in there. So I'll create a new layer above it. I need to maybe scroll this option down to color at the bottom here. And then grab the soft airbrush and just lightly paint in roughly around about 15% maybe. Paint in some yellows in here. Add some more yellow tones very lightly in the background. And maybe even zoom right in here and add in some yellow within the triangle, really close up to the triangle. At this point I'm trying to get like a fiery aesthetic and look to this. That's pretty cool. I still think the background's pretty strong and a bit too bright. I could even create a new layer and make it dark and just lower some of those tones down. I quite like the look of that one in like a reddy fiery look. But yeah, we got some multiple variations on things. I think this will work really cool on Instagram again if I keep the original like this, which I still think is too bright. I think that top overlay one just needs to be lowered a tiny bit down to about 50%, just to lower the tones down a bit. And I think I'm going to come back to that fiery layer at the top. So at this point now, probably going to sort of say that's a wrap in terms of the tutorial. And now I'm just going to tinker for fun and catch back up with chat a little bit. It's like LinkedIn Park logo. Oh, Lincoln Park. I thought you said LinkedIn. I'm going to add a little shadow in behind mine here. Do you know what? I'll actually go in and on the triangle layers, each one I'm going to duplicate, and the bottom one out the two, I'm going to drop black into it. If I remember to actually drop it into the right spot. And then let's duplicate each part of the triangle. So drag it down and fill it with black and probably merge them together. I'm just going to create like a drop shadow. I just need the final piece of the triangle, which is up here, and then the bottom one, just drag it down. And then let's drag the black into there and pinch them together. And then I think I'll create a Gaussian blur about 15 or 16% there, and just drag that down at an angle. That'll really help it stand off of that background a bit more. I may even then motion blur it as well, just diagonally like that. About 50, 40, 45% there. So I've gone diagonally from middle all the way down, spread that shadow out, end up with a nice little shadow in there to keep it off the background. That's looking a lot better. I think now it's just about tinkering, really. I'm a lot happier with it standing off the background now, because now I don't mind this sort of galaxy in the background being so punchy. I'm going to stretch out my orbs here just to fill up the entirety of the square, so it goes edge to edge a bit more. Just a little touch here. Very happy with that now. I think now I'll just create some multiple versions, and then we've got a nice Instagram post there to try and see what people think. 1, 2, 3, or 4. So we've got a nice little pink one. Let's go to settings, save that. And let's create some multiple versions of it. Oh no, I'm late to the party. Don't worry, Miss Finster666. This video will stay live on YouTube straight after the stream. So if you want to follow along with this, being live, it's a little bit slower, so you'll have to bear in mind. Plus all the natter from the riff-raff of my patrons in the chat makes it a bit slower than normal. But do you know what? I think we found the name for the patrons. We're trying to find a name to call the Joel Create Patreon community. I think we should just stick with the riff-raff. What do you reckon? The riff-raff. Join the riff-raff. Oh, that looks really good. I want to create some just fun different versions for Instagram here, some different variations. Oh, that looks good. They posted really well. It gave me some good what's it called? Engagement. That one looks really cool. We've done pink, teal, gold. Okay. So I can get away with a red one, I think. Oh, that's cool, Miss Finster. Then you should have lots of fun then with this one. It's been a good tutorial to crack on with, to be honest, and just gives you lots of pauses in there as well, which is nice. There's a couple of tips in there as well of what I would do.